Over the past decade or so, the compact crossover segment has grown to having the fiercest competition in the automotive industry. There's just so many options to choose from. In the past few weeks, we've tested two competitors from Japan, the Subaru Forester and the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. Today, we have a candidate from Korea. This is the newly refreshed 2025 Hyundai Tucson XRT. Let's check it out. So for this model year, the Hyundai Tucson here in Canada is split into basically four main trims: the preferred trim, the XRT trim, the N-line trim, and the ultimate trim. The XRT trim is the more off-road oriented trim, and the N-line trim is the more sporty trim. The base two trims, preferred and XRT, features a gas engine, and the N-line trim and the ultimate trim features a hybrid engine. In terms of pricing, the preferred trim here in Canada starts about 34,000 Canadian dollars, and the plug-in hybrid version of the ultimate trim will set you back about 55 grand. This one right here, the XRT trim, is 44 grand as tested because it also has the $1,500 matte gray paint job. Aside from the fact that the XRT trim is brand new for this model year, in terms of exterior styling, there really hasn't been much of a change. The daytime running lights look a little bit different, and the front bumper styling is slightly different compared to the previous pre-refresh model, but aside from that, you can hardly tell any difference. LED headlights still come standard, which is great, and of course you have this paint job. Definitely not common to have matte paint job as an option in this segment, but this Ecotronic matte gray paint is exclusive for the XRT trim. Over to the side, this is where you'll find most of the XRT goodies, including this ruggedified wheel arch cladding over here and some faux beadlock alloy rims. These rims even have wrenches as spokes, which in my opinion looks pretty rugged. The only thing missing in my opinion are some all-terrain tires, because as standard, the XRT trim comes with 235/60 R18 all-season tires. As for suspension setup, the front end uses a set of McPherson strut and the rear end uses a multi-link setup. Around back, essentially no change compared to the pre-refresh model, aside from the Hyundai logo being a little bit more subtle. It also integrates completely as one piece of glass now, whereas the pre-refresh model had a cutout for the logo right here. This being the XRT trim, of course, you also have a very nice looking XRT badge. I'm a big fan of how these XRT badging looks. It also has rear wiper that's hidden underneath the spoiler, which I really like, but what I really hate are these turn signals that are at the bottom of the car. Move it up here, Hyundai. In terms of cargo space, the Tucson is up there with the class leaders, offering very similar amount of space compared to the Toyota RAV4, the Kia Sportage, and the Honda CR-V. It also has a height adjustable trunk floor, so you can get yourself a couple more inches if you want of cargo space. Unlike the RAV4 we tested last week, the Tucson also has a lever that you can fold the rear seats down just from the trunk right here. The seats also click and lock into place when you fold it down, which I think is a pretty good design. Before we jump inside, let's check out what's under the hood of this Tucson XRT. So, you've got a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated inline 4-cylinder engine producing 187 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. This engine also features both port injection and direct injection, which should reduce carbon buildups over time. Power is routed through an 8-speed automatic transmission to all four wheels. But if you want more power and more efficiency out of the Tucson, you can opt for the hybrid version or the plug-in hybrid versions, which will get you 231 horsepower and 268 horsepower respectively. The last Tucson we tested was the 2024 N-Line Hybrid, and in that I mentioned that I really didn't like the cloth texture that the seats had. But on this 2025 XRT, we've got black leatherette interior and black headliner, which I really like. Space, the Tucson is also a class leader for ton of legroom and a ton of headroom. But the best part about this rear seat area is how much you can recline these seats. Honestly, it's perfect for a road trip nap. Up front, this is where the Tucson got the major overhaul in. There's a completely new dash design, a new center console area design, and a new steering wheel design. The Prindle that used to be right over here has been converted to a column-mounted shifter, freeing up space for a wireless charger and more space down here for whatever you want to put, handbag, whatever. The best part, in my opinion, is the passenger side shelf. That's extra bonus practicality points for me. In addition to screen upgrades from 10-inch to 12-inch, performance upgrade to the software, and wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay support, some physical buttons have made a comeback, which I'm very happy about. Now, you get a row of buttons for your infotainment system, volume knob, physical climate control knobs. It's great. However, there are still some things that you have to control using a screen, using a touch screen. For example, heated steering wheel, heated seats, and fan speed, these all need to be controlled in this little screen down in the center here. With that said, I think that this overall design, this new design, these new buttons work better and look better. As for the rest of the amenities, the XRT trim gets a fully digital instrument cluster, which gives you plenty of customization, a Bose sound system, a sunroof, as well as interior ambient lighting. Alright, let's go for a drive. When it comes to how this Tucson drives, to be honest with you, there really isn't anything special. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It has a traditional naturally aspirated engine and a traditional torque converter automatic. Mechanically, nothing here is overly complicated. Now 0 to 100 kilometers an hour does take about 9 seconds, so it's definitely slow. If I floor it right now, it's definitely not quick, but I think for most people that are considering a car in this segment, it will do the job. If you want a faster version of the Tucson, you can always get the hybrid or the plug-in version, which will shave off a couple seconds for your 0 to 100 times. Steering is relatively light and visibility is great over the dash, so the Tucson is pretty easy to maneuver. The ride quality is also pretty good as the suspension is relatively soft, and of course the thick tire walls on this XRT trim definitely also helps. However, what I've noticed is that going over larger bumps at higher speeds, the car does feel a little bit floaty. Yeah. Performance-wise, in terms of acceleration, handling that sort of stuff, don't expect too much, but I think it gets the job done. As for fuel economy, you're still definitely going to get better numbers out of the hybrids, but to be fair, it's not bad on this gas 2.5 liter engine. In the city, I've been able to manage about 10 liters per 100 kilometers, and on the highway, surprisingly, 7 liters per 100 kilometers, and sometimes even eking down into the 6s, which is beating its rated numbers of 7.7 liters per 100 kilometers by quite a bit of margin. Similar to most modern Hyundai products, the safety tech on this Tucson is great. Standard emergency braking, standard adaptive cruise control, standard lane keep and lane centering, as well as standard blind spot warning, plus a few other extras. The blind spot warning beeps at you instead of only lighting up the logo over there on the mirror, and the lane keep, lane centering track lanes very well. The adaptive cruise control is also fairly confident, and you can also adjust the acceleration strength and reaction speed of the adaptive cruise control to your liking in the system over here. Overall, although the XRT trim is more of an appearance pack than anything, I think Hyundai has done an excellent job updating the interior, giving it better design, better tech, and also a much more decluttered space in the center over here. The 2025 Tucson makes a great choice as a compact family crossover in my opinion, but the real question is whether if you would spend 3,000 Canadian dollars more to get the N-Line hybrid version, which also includes rear heated seats. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. As usual, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.